Hello, Anne. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very, very warm. It's unseasonably warm here. And on top of that, I'm having a new roof put on my house, which is making the house extremely hot. Fortunately, we're recording this after the roofers have all gone home. So there won't be any
Noise.
calamitous interruptions or noisy stuff. I can't guarantee that, but they're gone. It won't be them making the noise if there is noise.
Very good. So, who are you, Eddie?
I'm Eddie
Tell us.
Muller. I'm Eddie Muller, the founder and president of the Film Noir Foundation and the host of TCM's Noir Alley, and that guy. And
Okay.
you are,
I am Ann Hawkins. I'm the Director of Communications for the Film Noir Foundation.
and so much more. But for our purposes, we'll just leave it at that
We'll
for
leave it
right
at
now.
that. Oh,
Our social media doyen,
I
most
like that. I'm putting that on
yeah.
my resume.
Uh, please do, please do. So, when we are recording this, Noir City Hollywood will have wrapped up, I think. But when we're recording it, it's only halfway over.
I'm sorry, my
So,
cat was just peering over the monitor with the most adorable look on his face. I got distracted.
oh,
Yes.
okay,
So when this airs, North City, Hollywood will be over because you're actually flying down there like tomorrow or the next day, actually, from when we're actually recording this. And then we'll be in the preparation mode for the TCM Film Festival, which is right around the corner.
correct. That's coming up very, very quickly. In fact, we are recording this on the day that the film schedule was announced for
Yes.
TCM. And I just happened to glance at social media before I came on, and that's all that was in my feed was people complaining, people talking. It's just classic. Anyway,
Anyway, but I'm very excited. It's so funny because on Sunday morning I was thinking, should I see Anastasia? I haven't seen that before. And then I looked and my friend Sloan's introducing it. So I
oh,
will be seeing,
fantastic,
yeah, so I'm very excited about that. It's like,
fantastic,
well, I'm definitely going to that then so I can see her introduce the film. So,
great, great, great. I look forward to seeing Sloan when I'm down there. So,
yeah.
um, and I haven't. What's interesting is I don't know what I'm introducing yet.
Yeah.
I know a couple of things that were a given, you know,
Yeah.
um, but I try as much as possible because I'm so used to these movies, right? They're showing Out of the Past, they're showing Stranger on the Third Floor, they're showing Phantom Lady. I think there's even a couple other noir films, and I'm so familiar with them, and it's not like I'm introducing all of those, but I might be. but
That's what I
um,
was wondering. I was going to say,
but I tend to request a co-host because then it makes it more intriguing for me because it's not just doing I have introduced Out of the Past
yeah.
quite a few times in my life, but I've never introduced it with Dana Delaney.
Yeah. I saw that she was introducing it. So I assumed you were doing that one.
Yeah, and it's interesting that they never put on the schedule what films the hosts are introducing.
So which is why you guys should follow us on social media during the festival because I do I do post which ones Eddie's hosting each day. Just
Yeah,
so you know.
because we do that, and it's
Yeah.
I didn't violate any trust or anything because
Yeah.
Dave Karger does the same thing. He immediately tweets out to his fans like, "I'll be introducing this and this and this."
Yeah.
They just don't put it in the official program. But if
Yeah.
you have other channels for figuring it out, that's great. But like, I know for a fact that those three films I mentioned, Out of the Past, Stranger on the Third Floor, and Phantom Lady, will all have other people introducing them, and I may be with them as well.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah,
that
I
that's
feel
that.
bad because I won't be going to yours opening night. I will be going to see the Ozu Diaries, which you probably guessed that's what I'd go see.
That's great. That
Oh,
if I wasn't working, that's what I
that's what you
go
would go see,
see.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I know. I'm
yeah.
very excited about that. I love Ozu. I saw like 20. 4 of his films, like in, I think it was like over 6 weeks
Wow.
because they were having a retrospective in Seattle. I couldn't, yeah, it was great. I mean,
Boy, that's an
he's,
immersion,
well,
but I can see that being a very a wonderful experience.
it
I mean,
was.
you can see a lot of his films without like getting worn out. It's
Yeah, I'm not sure who else. Oh, I guess I probably could have done it for like John Ford, but yeah, and I think too, um, it's like with him too. It's like you're watching the history of Japan, from the silent period through the '60s,
exactly,
because all his
exactly.
films are in a domestic space, so you really get a feel for what life was like for Japanese people over that time period. It's really, as it,
Very
yeah,
yes, indeed, and very intentional on his part to like using cinema like a diary for of his life. It was pretty remarkable. Anyway,
anyway,
let's
let's
get
do the
rolling
questions.
because I will have to feed my wife at some point, and I don't want her to get violent.
And this is from Terry. Eddie, I enjoyed watching Caged last week and your info and input on it. Not sure that it fits your definition of noir. I reread a couple of your old interviews and articles. I didn't find Eleanor Parker's character to be a true anti hero, more of a Hitchcockian hero pushed into a situation by being in the wrong place at the wrong time, or
The
maybe
wrong woman.
wrong guy,
Yeah.
wrong time. And she didn't knowingly assist in the gas station robbery. So do you want to go because he kind of wants your thoughts on like these points and whether or not how it fits into film noir. So do you want to just, he's got 3 points. So do you just want to kind of talk about her character as being a noir character?
No, I want to
Let's
hear
do all of them.
the
Okay.
rest of his observations about this film.
I suppose Agnes Moorehead could be considered the good guy, but I didn't see a singular film fatale, only a collection of women somewhere on the desperation depravity continuum. There wasn't
Well,
really a plot twist unless you consider EP's fall from grace to be one, but that was the point of the movie. How the system turned the good to the bad and the bad to worse. Thoughts?
um, yeah, I don't know what to. Quite honestly, I don't know what to make of this because um, I there really wasn't a template for noir, and so I think that when you're watching these things and saying, is that really a noir? Isn't that a noir based on a like a checklist of items? It's important to remember that nobody, when they were making these films, nobody called them noir at all, and there certainly was no template like I just said. Uh, Noir doesn't have to have a femme fatale, and noir doesn't have to have a usually there's a flawed protagonist, and it's also I'm not trying to rag on Terry here, but it's also weird to I guess people like to refer to the protagonist as the hero because it's shorter. You don't have to type as many letters. Uh, but it is, or anti-hero as the case may be. But sometimes, like, it's funny because Terry said, the hero, the anti-hero, the wrong person in the wrong place, blah blah blah. All of these ways of describing it, but we all agree that Cornell Woolrich is like the preeminent
Mm-hmm.
writer of noir fiction. Yet his protagonists are not necessarily flawed and self-destructive. They are the classic wrong place at the wrong
Yeah.
time characters. And when he said she was a Hitchcockian character, there are those Hitchcockian characters like Henry Fonda and The Wrong Man and Jimmy Stewart and most, the God damn, I have a hard time remembering the title of that movie because I always want to say the man who cheated himself, and then I want to say the man who wasn't there, and it was the man who knew too much.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of. Anyway, so what I think is important, and the reason I think Caged qualifies is because it's more about a noir vibe and a noir ethos, and it was made at a time when that was very, very rare for a movie studio to make a movie that was critical of an American institution to that degree, right? Here on the one hand, you have, you know, right after that, I showed T-Men, and
Yeah.
here you have a movie where they're extolling the infallible virtues of the Treasury agents that work for the government.
Hmm.
Uh, but Cage, you know, but that's a film noir. And then
Yeah.
Caged is saying, you know, we're exposing the corruption in
Yeah.
what's supposed to be an established, you know, beneficial institution for our society, you know, the prison system. Uh, so I don't think it's like, well, this character doesn't fit as a noir protagonist. It's more like, well, it's part of the movement, and is emblematic of that is that they were willing to make this movie where
Yeah.
an innocent person is turned into a corrupt person, and it's not going to end happily ever after. I think that's why I would consider that film, you know, why it qualifies as a film noir, and why I was so happy. Like when I did the next edition of Dark City, the new edition, the revised, I was able to add an entire section on prison movies because I didn't have room to do it the first time around. And yet I think all of those prison movies from like the 30s through the 60s are very much noir films. So anyway, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Okay, this is from, and you'll have to forgive me. I went in to have my eyes worked on this week, and I'm getting new glasses and everything because I cannot see at all anymore. So I'm going to stumble over some of these questions because these are just computer glasses. I do not have my glasses right
Your
now.
reading glasses.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, crap.
Still reeling from watching Who Killed Teddy Bear. I see, Anne, you've gotten some like recent questions in the mix here. That's good.
Yeah, I'm trying to, when they comment on something you just screened, I'm trying to get those in there. So we're not responding to
Just
something
a
that you screened a year ago.
very, very, very journalistic of you. Put the hot stuff up front, and then we'll get to the old questions towards the end. Okay. Still reeling from watching Who Killed Teddy Bear. What a marvelously uncomfortable ride. My question is, how was this ever shown in theaters in 1965? I think that year was before the rating system, but not positive. Remember the commotion that was made over Midnight Cowboy. Teddy Bear makes that look pretty tame, but maybe movies like Teddy Bear caused the rating system to be put into place. Is Susan in Fresno? Thank you for watching Who Killed Teddy Bear. I got some grief for showing that on Noir Alley because people, they I mean, it clearly was made the predominant thing in that film. You've seen it, right, Anne?
Yes, I
Yeah.
have.
The predominant thing in that film is that it is, more than anything else, it is a film noir. But then it's a sleazy exploitation movie. It's a weird Freudian thing, and it so clearly was inspired by, one of the many films that followed Psycho that took advantage of it delving into the aberrant psychology and all that stuff, and just the queasy factor that enabled them to make that movie. I know that the people who made it thought they were doing something great, but I think they understood that it was not going to be promoted as anything other than
Hmm.
an exploitation film, right? And that is a Times Square movie
Yeah.
through and through. Uh, and Sal, everybody's committed to it. Sal
Yeah.
Mineo gives a really
It's
committed
fantastic.
performance. He's really good in it. But it's just a queasy, strange movie. Thank God they made it because it's such a time capsule. And it's like it's fantastic that it's 1965 because it's right. You feel both the end of the 50s in that movie and the 70s are right around the corner. In this movie, they don't really show anything. There's just something about how, well, they show a lot of Sal Mineo, I
Yeah.
mean, in
Yeah.
a really provocative way that was very unusual for a mainstream actor. Uh, to have so much homoerotic stuff in that movie
Yeah.
is pretty amazing. Um, anyway,
And I just wanted to say one thing about it too, just on my end, because I know people like, because I'd heard from Nathan had told me about it, you had told me about it, so just like I had this expectation in my mind when I saw it. But what really surprised me about it is it actually says a lot about sexual trauma, and it's is not just one character. It's like,
yeah,
and you see this impact on everybody's lives, and and I was like really impressed by that because I wasn't expecting that it really, I mean, they really did make a good movie. But yeah, it's
yeah, absolutely. I mean, and I think you see that their seriousness is the evidence of that is the character of his sister,
yes.
right? Who is a really compelling character. I'm spacing on her name. I think it's Mary Bennett. I think I could be wrong. Who's terrific in the film. And yeah, and without anybody spelling it out, you understand very quickly that Salminio was abused,
Yeah.
and surprisingly by his mother,
Yeah.
which was really daring for any
Yeah.
time, really, to
Yeah.
and they don't spell it out or anything, but it's right there. You
Yeah.
cannot miss it,
And I also really like the cop and his daughter, because you realize the daughter's being really impacted by the father's obsession with sex crimes because of what had happened to his wife. And you can just start to that just the scene where he's like dictating his notes
Oh,
out
oh yeah.
loud and she's in the other
And
room, and it's
that's
like, are you out
so,
of your mind?
yes, that's so weird. So do you consider his homework
Yeah.
to be a form of abuse for that young girl?
I
I mean,
consider
it's
it
weird because
it's I
he
consider
could be listening to it with headphones, but instead he's playing it out loud in the apartment, and they make a point of the fact that this girl is hearing every bit of this weird perverted stuff.
yeah, I mean, I think it's severe neglect.
Or
Like, I don't think he's doing it intentionally, but yeah, it's abuse because it's neglect. He's neglecting her
I,
well-being, and because
yeah,
he's so
okay,
caught up
yeah,
in his own thing, and but I don't think he's doing it intentionally. I just think he's
right, right, right. No,
obsessed and he's not
exactly,
taking care of
exactly.
his child properly.
No, you're absolutely right. I didn't mean to
Yeah.
infer that he was doing it intentionally, but just like this is kind of, you know, he's wrecking her.
Yes,
He's
he
wrecking
is.
her, and he's oblivious. His obsession with all this stuff, and I like the way they treated that character because, um, you know, as is so often the case, the villain thinks they're the hero. And
Yeah.
I'm not saying that he was a villain per se, but he certainly is not good to his daughter.
No,
He's
not
not
at
taking
all.
care of his daughter. And his obsession is creepy. In some ways, it's absolutely as creepy as the
Yeah, it
Salman,
is.
the voyeuristic peeping tom threatening guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a lot going on in that movie, and
Yeah.
it just but there's such a grunge factor to it
Yeah.
that they knew they were doing,
Yeah.
that you do feel like I just need a hot shower
Yeah,
after
it's a lot, but it's God, did I tell you, I just oh God, Vinegar Syndrome just put out a really nice release of it. So I just bought it actually. So I guess I'm
Oh, okay,
watching it
good.
again.
Yeah, it's like a
Yeah.
who knew 4K restoration of who killed Teddy Bear. Because when I introduced it on TCM, I just said, I remember seeing this on television in the middle of the night
No.
in the 70s, and it was like exactly what Susan's reaction was. Like, I can't believe this got made. Are you trying
Yeah.
to tell me there was a film like this in 1965? Anyways, and how about this? They're showing it at the TCM Festival.
Uh,
Your turn.
My turn. This is from Bob in San Francisco. I'm reading Dark City and just read about the music and I Want to Live. It seems like that would have been a great fit for this year's North City Face the Music theme. Was it difficult to obtain, or had you shown it in previous North City festivals, or did it just not fit into the program in your mind's eye?
All of the above. We have shown it fairly recently. I can't remember exactly when. Another prison movie, and I love the movie.
Yeah.
And but the reason we didn't show it is this: it's the same reason we didn't show Elevator to the Gallows. We showed it relatively recently, and the theme of the festival is about musicians
Yeah.
more than it is music. And so the fact that there are no, it's a great score on the film, but there are no musicians in it. So that's why I skipped on that one. But I think any any festival that wants to combine jazz and noir has to include I Want to Live. I mean, it's like West Coast jazz in extremis, and also Robert Wise said it was the first time that he had actually um, directed a film to the music. I mean, he brought the musicians in so early in the process that they were working out themes, and he was hearing stuff and making directorial decisions based on the music, which I thought was pretty cool. Okay, hold on. I gotta see if I can move my screen here. Okay, this is from Bonnie in Cave Creek, Arizona. She says, I'm more than halfway through the new Dark City Dames. And thank you so much for your inspired work. Very nice. It's gotten me thinking about actresses of the era who never were tapped for noir. I am thinking of Dorothy Malone, however great she was in The Big Sleep. She had only a brief role. Hilary Brooke, Maureen O'Hara, Audrey Hepburn, correct? Wait Until Dark wasn't noir. And even a non-singing Doris Day. So, for discussion, any actresses who came close to starring in noir or would have made great femme fatales. That's it. You know, Dorothy Malone actually did a number of noir films. She never played. It's funny, you know, she never played the femme fatale in a noir film, but she was in, as you say, The Big Sleep, and she was in Flaxy Martin. Good girl. She was in Loopholes. She was a good girl in that. She's in Private Hell 36. She's a pretty good girl in that, you know. So she's in a lot of these, but it wasn't until she did Written on the Wind that she was like a full blown bad girl. You know, I don't even want to call her a femme fatale in that. She's just a bad girl in that movie. And she was great. She was great.
She was great. She's very good.
I think she won the Best Supporting Actress Oscars for that film. Yeah.
And Maureen O'Hara was in a film noir, Fallen Sparrow.
Two of them, Fallen Sparrow and A Woman's Secret with Gloria
I forgot
Graham.
about Woman's Secret. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, she's in two, and Hilary Brooke was in a number of B noir films. You know, that weren't, you know, they weren't anything special, but you know, she's in Ministry of Fear. She's in Fritz Lang's Ministry of Fear, and a few other ones as well. And I always liked her. I thought she had a great look. And anyway, but the question here seems to be, and we've kind of fielded this a few times before. Actresses.
What about Doris Day in film noir? Before we go on.
Oh, she did plenty of film noir. You know, Julie is kind of it's a woman in jeopardy movie, but I consider it kind of a film noir. And Storm Warning, which they didn't think, you know, that was like a classic Warner Brothers message picture, like Black Legion or something. But Storm Warning is a straight dramatic role, no singing or anything. She's fantastic in it. You know, she did another woman in jeopardy movie, Midnight Lace. You know, that's the Ross Hunter production, very glitzy, glossy kind of thing. It's not really a film noir. But and of course the movie I couldn't say before, the Man Who Knew Too Much, she's in that as well, and she's great in that film. Anyway, but I get this a lot. Like, who? Essentially, the question is, who were actresses of that era that didn't get to make a film noir who would have been good in a noir film? And Do you have any that off the top of your head?
No, I don't.
Yeah, I mean, once I was asked this question, and I said Greer Garson only because I just wanted to see her kind of drag through the mud.
Yeah. She's a great actress. She would have been fantastic, whatever she did.
Yeah, yeah, she would have been great. But
Yeah.
she always played these heroic, noble women in movies, and I would have loved to have seen Greer Garson, do her Lost Weekend, where
Yeah.
she's
That would
you
have been good.
know yeah, I would have enjoyed that. But the thing this question gets me thinking about about typecasting
Hmm.
and how maybe there's something to it, because I started to think like, well, it would have been fun to see so and so play a femme fatale, and then and immediately your mind goes to, well, who are the good girls? And I think of obviously Colleen Gray, Janet Leigh, right? But then you think about it and you're like, no, that wouldn't work. I just don't think it would work. I can't see Janet Leigh playing a femme fatale. She may have done it somewhere along the line, but that period when she was making act
Yeah.
of violence, and I just can't see it. And as much as I adore Colleen, I she would not have been convincing
Yeah.
as a bad one. She's played women who were the culprits and things, but she doesn't project the bad.
Right.
She's used as a gimmick to divert your attention, like
Yeah.
it can't possibly be her.
Yeah.
And I find this is still true today. I was thinking about like what are some films I've seen where an actress clearly wanted to be the femme fatale, and it was like, I'm having a hard time buying this. And did you ever see the movie Palmetto? It's I think Volker Schlondorf made that movie. It's like a Floridian noir film. Woody
Oh no,
Harrelson
I
is in
haven't
it,
seen it.
and the two women in it are Gina Gershon and Elizabeth Shue. And Elizabeth Shue surprisingly played the femme fatale role, and I just couldn't do it. She's adventures in babysitting and leaving Las Vegas was a great performance, but that's not the same thing. She could play an alcoholic and a abused woman and all that, but that wasn't a very different kind of character. And the other person who I love that I have a hard time believing as the femme fatale, although David Lynch didn't think so, is Laura Dern.
Yeah.
Like Laura Dern to me is just she is like Colleen Gray in a way. She conveys a certain dignity and a certain like the Laura Dern that we know from Blue Velvet. She's
Yeah.
innocent and sweet and all that. And I have a harder time believing the Laura Dern from Wild at Heart, where she's like just trashy and
Yeah.
she's still kind of got a golden heart under there,
Yeah.
but she's
Yeah. No,
uh
her mother is the one that's the femme fatale in that, and she's great.
yes,
Diane,
yes, the Diane Ladd, yeah.
Diane Ladd.
and
Yeah, she's
and
fantastic in that film.
yeah, whom I've had the pleasure of spending some time with,
Oh,
the
nice.
the late Diane Ladd, but
Yeah, she's a wonderful
uh
actress.
fabulous, and a tremendous person, just a real, just fun, very very down to earth. I'm hoping I get to meet her daughter at the TCM Festival, but and I hope she didn't hear what I said about, because I'm not impugning her in any way. I'm just saying that that's my reaction to her on screen, is that I always like Laura Dern. Like
Yeah.
she can't convince me to turn against her, because there's something inherently likable about her.
But I think in that film, she's not really, to me, she's very childlike in it in a
In
lot of
which
ways.
film?
In Wild at Heart.
Oh
I mean, in
yes,
one sense,
yes,
I mean, she
yes,
has this very sexual relationship and that kind of stuff, but she's very childlike and innocent in it
yes, yes.
too at the same time. So she's not, so I think that's probably why, rather than being someone who's like a femme fatale. Oh, you froze.
I hope that kind of answered. I don't know if I answered that question at all, but
All right.
it took some time to not answer it, so I think we should move on.
I think we should move on. I think you answered it. Okay, sorry, my cat just walked right in front of the questions.
Okay, that's what they do. Look at that.
That's, hey, Bruno. Okay, are you gonna? Oh my God. Okay, fine. God damn it. Okay, here we go. Sorry.
Bruno's gonna. We're gonna watch Bruno wipe out the whole apartment one of these days. Yeah.
Swear to God, between the two of them. Okay, where were we? We just talked
Number
about
five.
number five. Am I in the right ones? Oh, sorry. I was almost in the lightning round questions. We don't want that yet. Okay. I just watched Johnny O'Clock again. Loved Ellen Drew in this movie and in many others. I've always wondered why she didn't have a better career. She had everything: face, figure, personality, acting skills, and distinctive characteristics: voice,
Yeah.
smile, eyes. Bob from Plymouth, Michigan.
Uh, Interesting. Well, Bob, I think Ellen Drew had like a 20 plus year career, and I think she made a lot of movies. So I know what you're saying. Like, why wasn't she the A list? Why didn't she make the A list? And that's because there are certain actors that in the studio system who just get compartmentalized and they can't get out of
Yeah.
that. Like Lynn Barry at Fox, or it's just like that. That's where, and that's all the women I wrote about in Dark City Dames. That was
Yeah.
them. Marie
Yeah.
was never going to get a Joan Crawford role.
Yeah.
Audrey Totter was never going to get an Ida Lupino role. I mean, that's just the way it happens.
Yeah.
But then when you've been in the business for 20 years, and also, you'll note that the A-list actors, classic. The And it's so funny when she does that, because when it goes completely dark and then she moves away, it flames out, and so it's completely white, and then it comes back into focus. What was I saying? I was saying that the A-list actresses get the A scripts from the studio's highest paid writers. That's who's assigned to the A pictures. So that's why when actresses who are known for B movies, what's happening behind the scenes is that those films are more known for their style, for the directorial style brought to bear on lesser scripts, because that's kind of what characterizes a lot of the B movies, is that they're routine. I'm not going to say paint by numbers, but yes, let's say paint by numbers, and then the director comes in and paints outside the numbers. And
Yeah.
that's why those films are memorable, not as memorable for a great screenplay. And I don't think that you make it to the A list unless you have a great part in a great movie that would have a great script. So Ellen Drew never got that. And after a while, 5 years pass and stasis sets in, and like that's where you're at. You're going to play. And that's the classic line where they said, the thing about get me a Marie Windsor type, and it's like, well, there she is. You can have Marie Windsor. I mean, it's just, yeah. So I feel like I answered that one.
Yes, I feel like you did too.
Okay, very good. Now, this is from Joe, our buddy Joe in Suffolk County, New York. The story goes, I like it when questions start out
with the story.
The story goes. The story goes that when Martin Scorsese was first considered filming The Last Temptation of Christ, he had Robert De Niro in mind to portray Christ. Well, I think he had Robert De Niro in mind for everything he did when he was back in the day, right?
Yeah.
By the time the film was made, De Niro had aged out of the role. Willem Dafoe did his usual swell job, but if De Niro had gotten the role, he would have held the distinction of playing Satan, yeah. Lucifer and Angel Heart, and Christ. That shows quite a broad range. Well, I don't know. I don't know that it actually does that, Joe, because it all depends on how you play the characters, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the range, you're implying the range, because Jesus Christ on one hand, and the Prince of Darkness, Satan, on the other, but you could play them exactly the same
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Right?
No.
I mean, yeah, it's just what's the character's motivation? You know the motivation, but how do they convey it? I mean,
Yeah.
Jesus could be kind of sinister,
Yeah.
or Satan could be jovial.
Yeah.
He could be having a hell of a good time, like Lou Ford in The Killer Inside Me.
Oh.
Anyway, so Joe's not done. Many actors in the classic noir era excelled in a broad range of roles. What examples of actors of all genders come to mind that demonstrated this ability? I guess he's asking about who had the most range,
Well, Barbara
right?
Stanwyck.
Well, thank you for taking the words right out of my mouth. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that to me, if to oversimplify it, I mean, are they believable as a virtuous hero? Are they believable as a despicable villain? Right. This goes right back to what we were just saying about the actresses. It's like, I don't think I could believe somebody as a femme fatale, even if the part was written that way. But Barbara Stanwyck could do anything. Mm-hmm. And an actor who uh, obviously Bogart totally qualifies because and maybe this is to the point I just made. Bogart played heroes, Bogart played villains. Was there that much difference in the range displayed between those? Or was that just his unique way of doing it? I mean, yeah, clearly when he does Fred C. Dobbs, that's a Bogart you didn't really see that often,
Yeah.
right? When he starts to lose his marbles there, but I think Bogart had, for a guy who's an icon, he had a lot more range than people would give him credit for.
Yeah, and I would say also Edward G. Robinson, because one year at North City we did films. They were all from the same year. Was it 1947?
Yes.
Yeah, and in that we had him in All My Sons, which is an amazing performance.
Yeah, he's tremendous in that.
God, that was so great. And Key Largo.
Right.
And
yeah, and it was and it was also, I think it was
Not As a Thousand Eyes.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, you look at those three performances; they're completely different people.
Yeah, totally different in all of them, and it's wonderful because is there a more distinctive actor?
I know, this will make it so incredible.
A more distinctive person
in his voice, in his physicality,
and that face, that
face, yeah.
And yet those three men that he played in those movies there's no similarity between them whatsoever.
None.
Somebody else who I think had a lot of range, at least was great at playing good guys and really good villains, is Ray Milland. Mm-hmm. Ray Milland is one of the best villains going, but he could also play a regular good guy as well.
Yeah, he's on 2 episodes of Columbo, one playing a very sympathetic part as the husband of the victim, and then he plays the killer in another episode. Completely different characters. Those 2 characters couldn't be more unalike.
Yep. Who else? I mean, well, I think thinking of Ray Milland in The Big Clock, makes me think of Charles Laughton, and Charles Laughton had the same, like the character he plays in The Big Clock is just so sinister and awful, and yet he can be very, almost to a fault. He can be kind of cherubic and jovial on screen, and you're like, a little of that goes a long way, Chuck. Thank you.
I love him in Witness for the Prosecution.
Oh, he's absolutely fantastic. Tremendous in that film. Yeah.
And of course Claude Rains.
Oh, well, there you go. Nobody touches Claude Rains.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that should have been our first 2. Should have been Stanwyck and Claude Rains.
Claude Rains, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess I didn't think of him because, damn it, not a star. Not a headliner. Just like one of the greatest actors in history. But it was never, except The Invisible Man, where you didn't actually see him most of the time.
You hear his voice. That's why they cast him.
Exactly. Okay.
Time for the lightning round.
Okay.
Okay, so our first question is Andrew from Clayton, North Carolina. One of the most iconic artifacts from the classic film noir era is the portrait of Gene Tierney from the 1944 classic Laura. Do you happen to know if the portrait still exists? Years ago, I read that the late great TCM host Robert Osborne owned the original painting. I hope it's still around today, considering its significance to film history.
I don't. That's not true. I believe, and I know there are a lot of people. If I get any of this wrong, there are people that I know watch this who will post the correct information. My understanding was that a casting director in Hollywood named Marvin Page had the original portrait, along with a ton or several tons of other memorabilia in his home. And I'm glad I didn't have to witness this. That, when word got out that Marvin had died, I think there were some people who had access to that home, and I think a lot of stuff disappeared. And I don't know whatever happened to the portrait. Honestly, I don't even know that it was a true story that Marvin had it. But I'm hoping someone will answer that question here. And also, just for the record, my understanding is that the portrait was actually a photograph that was painted over. So to make sure, because there was an original portrait for the film that Preminger decided he didn't like because it didn't look enough like Gene Tierney. So they took a photograph and then they had an artist just paint right over
Wow.
this blow up photograph. So that's the original painting.
Huh. And next question is from Diego. I was wondering if you have seen the new Criterion disc set of Del Toro's Nightmare Alley, and especially if you saw the black and white version with 9 minutes of footage added. If so, any comments or observations?
It's funny. I knew that when you said Diego, I knew this was going to be a Nightmare Alley question. So thank you for watching. I appreciate that. And I have to confess, I have not. And it's a little bit embarrassing because I had a conflict, and our friend Alan Rohde showed the black and white version with the restored minutes at the Palm Springs Noir Festival last year, and I didn't see it because I had a conflict and I couldn't get out of it, and so I did not see the film. And Guillermo was there, and so sorry to disappoint you, Diego, but I haven't seen that yet, and I'm not really sure that 9 minutes is going to make that much of a difference. And did you saw it, right? You didn't see Nightmare Alley, the new one?
I'm really embarrassed. No, I didn't see it.
No, sorry, I asked you.
No.
I did not have any issue with it. It's like, if you're going to remake it, I'd rather it be remade by somebody that understood and appreciated the source material, which Guillermo and Kim Morgan certainly did. And I know a lot of people don't like it at all, and I think they just say that out of loyalty to the original version, and which I dearly love. But I can't say it was that he, it was fine. It was fine. I liked it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I wanted to see it in the theater, and then I didn't. And then it's like one of those films was like, yeah, but I want to see it in the theater. And so, like, I still haven't watched it at home yet. I hate it when I do that. And it was just one of those things where I didn't go to the theater in time to see it. And then it was like, yeah, but it seems like a big screen movie. So
I'm assuming that they're going that they have put the black and white version out on to stream.
Yeah.
I mean, I would like to see it. I honestly, the color was one of the things I liked the most about the film.
Yeah.
And when I learned it was happening, I thought, well, Guillermo is like the perfect person to direct this movie because of the whole carnival background, and he did not disappoint in that respect. I mean, the production design and the art direction, it's all just fantastic. And that kind of has to be in color.
Yeah. Huh.
I mean, anyway, this is the
Okay.
lightning round. Let's let it go to rest and move on.
Bob G asks, what's with the crazy slide whistle thing on the soundtrack whenever Frank Bigelow eyeballs a hot doll once he arrives in San Francisco? And what are the chances that we'll ever get a nicely restored presentation um, of this
D.O.A.
gem, which is DOA?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not. I think you'll get a nice restored version sooner than later. And a bad decision is what you call that slide whistle in the film. And the only rationalization I can make for it is that perhaps the filmmakers thought it would be amusing to set the audience up by making them think the film was going to be funny and
Yeah.
going to be a comedy. And so they thought, oh, let's just do this. This will throw them off. There's some other bad jokes at the beginning, about dog on the loose at the convention and all that kind of nonsense. But yeah, I just think it was a bad idea. I don't know whose idea it was, and they were wrong.
Okay. And this is from Richard. Eddie, you have presented films and done interviews in many theaters across the country and abroad. These include the Bay Area, Balboa, the Castro, and now the Grand Lake. I'd be interested in your thoughts and Anne's on various features of movie theaters that stand out and make a difference. Years ago, as a youth living in Oakland in the 1940s and 50s, I loved watching movies in the beautiful Paramount Theater, which is still a beautiful
Yeah,
theater.
yeah. That's an interesting question. But how do we put this in the lightning round?
I don't think, yeah, that may have been me getting it on the wrong document. So sorry, guys, this may not be very lightningly, this question.
Well, I'd almost like to come back to it in a later show or something because it's a really good question. I mean, obviously,
Do you want to do it in the next episode?
Yeah, let's do
Because
that.
I'd like to put some thought in it because like I had one theater immediately in my mind, and then I felt like it's got to be more than that. So yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
Richard,
But
we will
I'll take
answer.
advantage of this moment to just throw in a plug so I don't forget. I am speaking of vintage theaters and stuff like that. Fourth of the 6th of no 4th of June, something. Because the Strand Theater in Rockford, Maine, Rockland, Maine, something like that. I'm doing a benefit for the theater there with Alicia Malone. So, because
Oh,
she lives in Maine. So, Alicia invited me to come, and I'm going to show Woman on the Run as a benefit for the Strand Theater in Maine. So, that's all.
okay.
just I just am throwing that out there. That's I think it's June 4th is the date, I believe. So if there's anybody watching that's in Maine, you can come out and let us know.
All right. So this is our next question is, I cannot remember the last time an episode of Nor Alley, in my opinion, the greatest jewel in the TCM crown, exceeded 2 hours, even including reliably excellent intro and outros. Most of the pictures run between 65 minutes and 110 minutes. But to your knowledge, is there such a thing as an epic noir? Which noir has the longest running time?
It'd probably be a Melville film, Le Deuxième Souffle or Le Samurai, La True, the fabulous Jacques Becker Prison Break movie is 131 minutes long. I know that because we just showed it last year, and 131 minutes is long for one of these. Yeah, it wouldn't be. It would not be a Hollywood movie. It would be a foreign noir that would have the longer running time. I'm thinking like long is in Hollywood is like Sunset Boulevard.
Yeah, I was
Which
going to say
I can't remember how long it is. It's either 112 minutes or 122 minutes or something like that.
It's about 2 hours, I think.
Yeah, Leave Her to Heaven isn't that kind of long? I can't remember. I don't.
Yeah,
Maybe,
I think you're right.
Oh, and we just showed one last Saturday at the Egyptian was Anatomy of a Murder, which is granted a courtroom drama more than it's really a film noir. But we, of course, showed it because of the Duke Ellington score and the fact that Duke Ellington is in it and the fact that Jimmy Stewart plays the piano in it.
Yes.
But yeah, I'll stick with the Melville movies. I think
Yeah.
he didn't like to cut out any of the passage work. The car drives up, the guys get out, the guys walk up the stairs, the guys go down the corridor, the guys go into the apartment, the guys sit down on the couch. You see
Too
it
bad
all.
he never got to direct Fred Dryer.
Yeah. This episode of Hunter brought to you by Jean-Pierre Melville. Yeah. That's classic. Yeah. Okay, are we still in the
Nope,
lightning round?
that was it.
That was the lightning round. And we'll come back to the theater question.
Yes, we will. So that will be our question in our next episode.
Okay.
Okay, so you do question number 8.
Okay, this is from David in Carmel Valley. I think we've been getting a number of questions from David recently. I
believe so.
Okay. Oh, I like this one already. I just saw the first couple.
It's a good question.
I recently read a very interesting book called A Thousand Cuts, The Bizarre Underground World of Collectors and Dealers Who Saved the Movies by Dennis Bartok and Jeff Joseph, buddies of mine. It was all about the underground collectors circuit of stolen film prints and the often bizarre people and strange stories of those who trade in them. As a former projectionist, I was fascinated by the topic. I wanted to ask, are you aware of this underground activity? You mentioned that you have been to underground 16 millimeter screenings, and have you ever exhibited a title that was from a private collector? What are the legalities involved in this? Are they truly saving product that the studios are neglecting? While dubiously legal, do you see an upside for film fans knowing that this product exists out there? Or does it even matter much in our current moment of digital creation and distribution? Okay, that's a lot of questions. David, you poured a lot of questions into your limited space there. Yes, this underground completely exists. David read the book, so and I have read the book as well. I mean, Dennis gave me a copy of it, and when he was working on it, the manuscript. That's the word I'm looking for. And I do know a number of the people that are in the book. Do you know, Anne, who the most famous film pirate in Hollywood was?
No.
He's a known person. Everybody knows this guy. It was Roddy McDowall. Roddy McDowall had a massive illegal film collection and actually got busted by the FBI because of it. I don't know all the fine points of that, but I always thought that was kind of amusing. Yes, there is this whole underground, which I'm aware of, and I applaud it. I have had instances where these collectors have completely bailed us out. Now, on the one hand, there's like these anonymous people who collect stuff, and because they're anonymous, they have kind of a scurrilous reputation and stuff. But then there are people who do this who are completely legit, like Martin Scorsese, right? And Hugh Hefner had a huge film collection. Scorsese has all of his is housed at the George Eastman House in New York, and I have shown Scorsese prints. When I wanted to show, before we restored it, and I wanted to show Try and Get Me, it was Scorsese who loaned it to us to screen it, and there are those collectors, all this stuff, and then they give it to an archive, but they see themselves as custodians and stewards of it. I'm not a huge fan of, just like in fine art, there are these people who like steal the painting and then they keep it in their basement, and like, I'm the only person in the world who can look at this now. I don't like those people. But then again, what's the point of a film if you're not showing it to people? So it's, so it's not like a piece of art that's a static piece of art with a value attached to it. It's a film. The film only has value in it being seen by people,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it's not like you can hide this stuff. You are compelled to show it. And that's why most of these people are collectors, is so that they can invite their cherished friends over to watch these movies. The restoration we just did, The Yellow Canary, which premiered last Saturday in Hollywood, that was entirely the work of Peter Conheim, who of these guys. He has a massive film collection, and he restores films, and he does all this tremendous work. He is Cinema Preservation Alliance, which has the credit on the film for doing the restoration. He's the one who turned me on to this film. And to Peter's credit, he saw it through a link somewhere on the web that disappeared right after he sent it to me. I started watching the movie. I got 15 minutes in, and then went to do something else. And like a day later, I came back and it was gone. So we made it a mission to like find the film, right? And we did. And so yeah, there are people like Peter, and there's more than that. I mean, Jeff Joseph, who's one of the co-authors of the book that Dave is mentioning here, is also one of these people. He's a film collector, and I showed what's the great film that I love that he has, Without Pity, the Italian film Without Pity, neo-realist noir. Jeff has that, and got a copy of it somewhere, did a digital restoration of it, and that's what I showed on Noir Alley. So yeah, I mean, this collector mentality has been a big part of cinema culture forever.
Yeah, and people should also know, like with silent films, a lot of the reason why we have some prints of some silent films is just because projectionists kept them. Because so basically, people don't know, in the silent film period, the films played internationally, and when it would get to wherever the last stop of distribution was, the projectionists could either ship it back, which was really expensive, or keep or destroy the print. And instead of destroying the print, they would just save the films. And like more than a couple of years ago, I got to write the essay about John Ford silent film that they had discovered recently, and it was literally in somebody's shed. And they were doing a project where they're getting everybody to bring in their home movies because they were trying to, for historical reasons. And someone found this, and another projectionist just happened to be visiting, recognized the title, and said, can I look at the actual print, because I think this might be this missing John Ford film. And also with old time radio, there was just a bunch of engineers who saved old time radio shows, because they would have them on on records essentially because these then got broadcast for the East Coast and the West Coast anyway. So they would just there's a lot of radio shows that would be missing if these audio engineers hadn't saved the discs, basically.
Exactly. And I'm all for it. The legality of it, it's remains to be seen. Yeah. Like if it turns out that there's one last copy, and that copy was attained through slightly shady means, nobody's going to care at a certain point. I've been down this road a few times. My colleague Fernando Pena in Buenos Aires, I mean, he is one of these people. Now he's recognized as one of the great cinephiles in the world, but this is how he started out. I mean, he was always a film lover, but a collector, and Fernando was right in the middle of that whole thing, which you just described with silent films. That's how they found Metropolis, right? The most complete version of Metropolis, which Fernando tracked for 20 years, tracking it through this bureaucracy. Yeah. And so I might as well point out precisely that when people did everything legit, it never got discovered. It was in an inventory, being inventoried by somebody who didn't care, and it's just another thing stacked in a room. It takes an obsessive compulsive person like Fernando to track it through every time that film moved, he was aware of it, and he knew what was there. And it takes that individual, that kind of swashbuckling individual, if you will, to come through in the end. And that film never would have been recovered were it not for Fernando.
Yeah.
And Fernando employing all the guile and techniques that collectors have to deploy in order to do this stuff. It is not like there's going to be, and I want to specify that we're talking about film.
Yeah.
We're not talking about digital stuff, because digital pirates piss me off.
Yeah.
The film people, it's like, no. There's a way to care for this stuff. There's it's a physical artifact.
Yeah.
It's not as easy as what some people do with our restorations, which is just digitize it and then just cut off our restoration credits, upload it to YouTube, and then ask for money because I restored this film. And it's like, okay, don't get me started.
Okay. Let's move on. So this is from Mike from York, England. I have been fascinated by the dark, compelling little British movie, Dear Murderer, since I first saw it on a pirated disc. To my knowledge, it has never been restored or had a proper release on disc. It was about a man who plans the perfect murder of his wife's lover, then finds that as chance would have it, he's able to frame his own wife for it. There's little action and it's quite British, but it's also very dark in subject matter, dialogue, and villainy for its time. It has a Phyllis Dickerson level femme fatale, film noir in spirit rather than in style, perhaps. Given it probably couldn't have been conceived in the absence of 1940s noirs, how should we categorize it? And should it become an honorary film noir with a decent restoration to boot?
Huh. Interesting. I'm not sure I get what Mike means by that it couldn't have been conceived in the absence of the 1940s noir. I'm not sure what that means. I mean, this kind of, to me, this fits pretty snugly into the noir period. It would be a great companion film with The Hidden Room.
That's what I was just thinking.
Edward Dmytryk film. Yeah, and it is available. It has not been put on physical media, but it streams. And that's where I saw it. I didn't know what this movie was until about a year ago. And I think it's on Amazon or something. It's like a freebie, Dear Murderer. And it's this, it's good. It's very British, which is what I like about it. And I like, what's her name? Greta Gint. Greta Gint is the actress who plays the wife. And she's really interesting. I think I don't know if she's Norwegian or Swedish or something like Gint, right?
That's why I was wondering if she was Scandinavian, because that's definitely a Scandinavian.
It's an adopted name from Peer Gynt. I mean, that's exactly
okay.
That's exactly why she chose it. I can't remember what her actual name is, but yeah, that's a really good movie. A very, very clever plot. It would be wonderful. I don't know. I'm trying to remember what that production company. Trying to remember the name of it. I slips my mind right now. Sydney Box was the executive at that studio, and gosh, I can't remember now. But thanks for mentioning it. And if people want to see the movie and they're curious, for once we're mentioning a film that I think if you are online and you can stream, shouldn't be too difficult to find. I know for a fact that Amazon is streaming it. Okay, can I do the next one?
Please do.
Okay. Make sure I'm in the right place. Okay, this is from our friend Alan in San Anselmo. No one seems to talk about or remember, including you two. That's what he says. A movie I liked with Dennis Hopper and Nick Cage, Red Rock West. Any thoughts about this movie? And then he adds, I had 20 people over to watch it a year after it was released. maybe he pirated that film and had 20 people over to watch it.
We'll have to find out.
And everyone enjoyed it. Remember the city limits sign that was shown every time Cage would either leave the town or come back to town. Is somebody causing havoc over there?
Yeah, somebody's standing on my laptop. Could you not stand on that?
Okay.
I love
this.
You can't stand there. Okay.
Okay, now we're gonna get a cat sighting for real now.
Okay. Bruno,
there
say hello.
Is Bruno. No, he's a squiggler. He's not gonna do that. Okay, the subject at hand is Red Rock West. Have you seen this movie, Ian?
I'm pretty sure I saw it when it came out. I haven't seen it since.
Yeah, I mean it's very amusing. It's John Dahl. He did it before The Last Seduction, which I kind of like a little bit better, but it's good. Dennis Hopper is great in it. It's right in the middle of that whole Dennis Hopper Renaissance thing. When he was in every other movie made.
I really like the film he did with Jodie Foster.
Help me out. It's got blue in the title.
I think so. God, I can't remember. It was really good. It was just really weird because they actually had really great chemistry.
Yes. I know what you're talking about.
Film.
Yeah. But I'll be damned. And I'm not that adept. I'm not going to go look it up right now, but somebody is posting it right now.
I hope so. Yeah.
Okay. I loved Dennis Hopper had that one line where he's like threatening Nick Cage, and he gives him like a motivational thing, and he goes, "Choose life, man." And it was like, I just like that line, "Choose life." And Lara Flynn Boyle was in that movie, right? And that was interesting. Her career didn't go quite. Didn't happen. I know she kind of fell in with Jack Nicholson and was Jack Nicholson's main squeeze for a while, which did nothing for her career.
Yes.
But yeah, I guess once you do Twin Peaks with David Lynch, I think you've hit the top end. Could be,
Yeah.
Okay. That's I don't have much else to add about Red Rock West. I mean, I liked it. I remember thinking it was really fun. I liked Dennis Hopper in it very much, and
I know it's kind of a shame because it's sort of lost on home usage. I think it definitely came out on videotape. I'm not even sure it ever came out on DVD, but I know
really,
really. But there's
that surprises me.
I know it must be because I'm not sure who owns it and stuff, but it's kind of one of those films. I know it's really surprising to me, but it's like, a shame. Okay, and this is from Terry. It's our final question. I love this question. What makes up great movie storytelling that comprises a great movie? I'll see you on the next TCM cruise. So
what makes a great
500
movie?
words or less.
Oh, I can do it. You want me to do it in 4 words?
Sure.
Good script, well acted.
Yeah.
4 words. I mean, but I mean, so what makes up great movie storytelling? That comprises. So what are it seems to me like what Terry's asking is, what are the elements of storytelling that you must have to guarantee a great movie?
Yeah.
Okay. And I would say that you have to, this is so rudimentary, but I think it makes the difference between why people attach themselves to a movie and why they just watch a movie and add it to the list. And that is because you have to care about the plight of the central character.
Yes.
You have to feel engagement with the central character, or you're just watching a story unfold. You're not feeling it to the max, where you engage with the film, and with that character. And that's why I think, number one, every every critical description of a movie to me is secondary to this is a great story. So I don't care how well photographed it is, what the score is like. All that stuff is window dressing. It if it's a narrative film, it's about the story. So it has to be a good script. And the selling of that is entirely up to the actors. I don't care how great a director is. You are watching the movie because of the people in front of the camera. And it to me, it's just remarkable. You can have an okay script that a really compelling actor will just hold your attention, and you'll think the movie is way better than it is because of that performer. And so that's why, if I had to condense it to 4 words, I would say good script, well acted. I almost am tempted to say well cast, because it in some cases, like your attachment to a character, and this is to bring it back to film noir, this is why the actors, and I'm using all genders, are so essential, because the thing about noir is that they're not good people. They're
Yeah.
people you shouldn't care about,
Yeah.
right? But they make that story compelling.
Yeah.
Like I want to know where this person went wrong,
Yeah.
and that's why you get people like John Garfield and Humphrey Bogart and Richard Widmark. These people have this light, this charisma. Ida Lupino and
Yeah.
Sheridan, that you care,
Yeah.
and it has nothing to do with the character as it's written. It has to do with the person playing the part. So
Yeah, because I thought like with All My Sons when we watched that, Edward G. Robinson was unbelievably great in it. The um actress that played his wife too
yes,
was just,
Maddie Christian. Yeah, she's
you know,
fantastic.
and then the one that really kind of blew me away though was oh God, he plays Sam Spade on the radio. He was married to Ida
Howard
Lupino.
Duff. Howard
Howard
Duff.
Duff is phenomenal in that.
Yeah,
Like his
yeah.
performance is so amazing. And I really thought Burt Lancaster was kind of terrible. You know what I mean? I mean, he was just sort of there. And it was just like, I mean, the film wouldn't have been
Yes.
made if he hadn't been in it because it was his production company. So I'm grateful. But it was like one of those things where it's like, wow, I really wish someone not named Burt Lancaster had
No,
been
you're
in
you're
that
absolutely right.
role.
He's the weakest thing in the movie,
Oh,
without question. Without question. But that happens on occasion.
yeah, it does.
Yeah. Uh okay, are we wrapped?
Mhm. That was all the questions. So, and I did want to talk about a couple things I've seen
Okay.
this week, which I've been very good. I've been writing things up as on my letterboxed account as I'm watching them. So, like the next day, I'm making myself write them up. So I'm actually kind of getting somewhere on this. But I saw a couple of. I bought a giallo set and went up there like early 1990s films, which I wasn't expecting. The first one was terrible, but I kind of enjoyed it anyway. But the second one was really great, called The Last Scoop. And like I saw like all these like headline reviews, like when I looked at it online, where they all said, "Oh, it's the Italian Cruising," and I'm like, no, this is a much better film than Cruising.
Okay.
Because it's about this, in like I think it's 1981, and this TV journalist is investigating uh the gay scene in Italy at the time, and he's sort of approaching it, I think, in a sensationalistic way. But then what happens sort of is he gets pulled into this, and then of course there winds up being a murder, and then there's that whole thing aspect to it. But the thing that's really interesting about it was it shows empathetically like all these different things that would happen if you were gay in that period in Italy.
Mm-hmm.
Like the cops coming in the park and harassing people for no reason, getting robbed and not being able to report it because you can't say why you're there,
Right.
and all these things. I was like, this is really good. And then he kind of goes through his own sort of sexuality crisis and stuff. But what's interesting is it's really centered though around him and his marriage and his wife. So it has like this really much like deeper aspect to it because it's so much about their marriage as well as the case.
I have to say, you're convincing me that this is the Italian cruising, because it sounds, what you're describing sounds very much like cruising. Although he's
Except that
not
it's so,
married in the film, he has a girlfriend in the
but it,
film. He's not married.
but it's so different from it because it's so empathetic and it's really
Yeah, yeah,
showing what
yeah, yeah.
gays go through in the society. And it's just like that's why I'm saying why I feel like it's not because it
I
takes a
get you. I get
completely
you.
it takes a much more serious approach and a much more I think a very much more honest depiction
Yeah,
of gay
cruising is
life.
very, very sensational.
Yeah.
Very sensational, you know. And yeah, so sounds it's called The Last Scoop.
It's called The Last Scoop. And like I said, it was just like one of those things where it was really oh, and what's the name of the actress that was in The Third Man? That was
Um
Harry Lime's girlfriend.
Alita Valley.
Alita Valley. She's in it. She
Oh yeah,
plays
she
one of the character's
yeah.
mothers, and she is so amazing because and she has a great scene in it with the protagonist's wife. I mean, it was just this great scene, but also she was still so beautiful.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, it was really like amazing.
She said she had such a long, interesting, varied career. You know, you've seen Eyes Without a Face,
Oh,
right?
I love that movie. She's great in it.
She's
Yeah.
in that too. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. Eyes Without Face. If people haven't seen that, they should see that. And then I watched a French noir called Back Against the Wall.
I don't know it.
Oh, it's really good with Jean Moreau, where this guy finds out his wife is cheating on him, so he decides to blackmail her. So he like comes up with a fake identity to blackmail her with, which I thought was like really interesting. And of course, things keep happening, and other people sort of get involved. And it's really funny because he, when people find out about his plan, they're like, God, that's really smart. It's like, yeah, it is. So it's just kind of funny. But I mean, just because it is like, but it was just really good. It
Okay.
was really good. It was one of those things where it kind of like you're going along and, you're watching this thing sort of he faces different challenges in doing this. Yeah, but I really like it. Really held my attention all the way to the end, where it's like I'm, waiting to see how things were going to unspool. And the cinematography was amazing. It was done by the same photographer who did Cascador,
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
and
Uh,
then yeah,
was that Henri Decay? No, I don't think so.
no,
No,
last name starts with an L. Sorry, I can't remember
no.
the name of the cinematographer. I'm not that familiar with French
Yeah.
cinematographers. And then also it was directed by a guy who kind of started out doing like a lot of more serious stuff, but then he wound up directing like La Cage aux Folles 1 and 2,
Yeah.
and also A Pain in the Ass, which I had mentioned before on the show, which is a hilarious farce that has Lino Ventura as a very, very frustrated hitman. And he's hilarious in it.
I hope people are taking notes.
Yeah,
So
well,
they've written all this down.
actually, I'm putting so on my Letterboxd account. For every episode, I'll put a list of the films that we talked about. So
Oh,
I started that.
fantastic.
I started that with the last episode. So the previous episode, there's already a list up, and then what'll happen is for this episode, the Letterboxd list will go up on Friday when it goes up on YouTube because I have to basically. If you guys don't watch this on Facebook, if you watch when we do this on Facebook on Thursday nights, I'm actually in the comments. So when I'm rewatching the show, then is when I can make the list of films because I don't have time to just like sit through and go through our whole episode. And
Fantastic.
so anyway, so yeah,
You're so diligent. You're so diligent, Anne.
and for those of you who have been who so funny. So and also there's also a list of my recommendations for French film noirs, which will be updated also as I watch stuff and like it as well. And for the fifth time, No Elevator to the Gallows is not on the list because I don't like the film.
Is that allowed? Is that allowed? You don't like it? It has a Miles Davis soundtrack.
I
Come on, how
know.
can you not like it? Come on. You have to like it, Anne. You have to like it. Okay, I'm going to go feed my wife now.
Okay.
Okay, fantastic. And we
Okay.
will be back doing this before you know it because we're squeezing an extra one in, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna try
Before the TCM Festival.
my so we're gonna shoot the next one a week after we shoot this, and then I want to try and get it up a week after this one. I want to get it up before the festival since we would normally be doing one that would be playing in the middle of the festival, but I don't want to play it in the middle of the festival because I won't be there to do comments. So
Gotcha.
that's the game plan. We'll see.
Okay. I think we will achieve it. I have a feeling.
Okay, I've got a really good feeling about this.
Okay, likewise.
Okay, great.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. Thank you,
Thank
Anne.
you.
Thank you, Bruno, for your cameo. And we'll see you very soon.
We'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.